Hello everyone. Okay, so this should be a super fun video because I am feeling extremely scattered today. So I figured rather than put it off and delay getting a video out to everybody, I would meet you where I am at and like I have shared in the past, attempt to not make it all look pretty and just show you all of my chaos. So today has turned out to be a completely chaotic day, and I will spare you from showing you the utter bomb that looks like it has gone off in my office today of incoming inventory and piles of things that I'm attempting to organize and socks on my desk. It's just where I'm at today. So what is scheduled for us to talk about today is being the person that you didn't see when you were growing up. And this has kind of been on our training calendar for a little while now, in terms of content and being able to get it out. So we're going to take some time to talk about it today. And also, with that being said, one of the things that we're working on getting out on our website is a calendar of training coming out. I know that some of the topics that have been coming out are a little bit sporadic, and so one of the things we're working on, if you haven't been on to the new website, it is ever changing, so you can visit us at oxygeneq.com. We'd love to see you, hear some feedback. Like I said, it is perpetually changing right now, but feel free to jump on. And one of the things that you will see sometime, hopefully in the near future, is a calendar of upcoming trainings. So let's jump right into the topic that we planned on for today, which is taking a stand in your, whether it be in your field or just being a female in business for people who are around the age that I am. There wasn't a ton, maybe even a little older than I am, being a female in a leadership role or being a female in business and in general was not necessarily something that we saw. Some of us were raised by stay-at-home moms. Our moms worked. It was kind of an ever-evolving thing in my life. And it was not necessarily something that we even maybe had access to. Obviously, with the evolving social media, evolving internet, it wasn't something that we had a ton of access to. With that being said, it's hard for us, it's hard for me. It's becoming a larger topic that's being talked about for us to have someone to model what our careers look like. So we're kind of blazing a little bit of a trail. It also, in turn, is giving us the ability to kind of take a stand and give the both men and women, young men and young women behind us, something to model their careers on. In my professional experience, I think that is some of the reason why we're seeing such a shift in the professional world today, why the generations that are up and coming feel like they want the flexibility or they want something different than what we're all accustomed to in the normal go to work, work hard, do this, go to work job that we all saw when we were growing up. And it's hard to wrap our minds around. We're also looking for a different type of acceptance in our job, what we get from it, what it gives back to us. And so for those of us who have kind of stepped up and said that we want something different, we are meshing 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 different ideas that we have together to create what we want. There isn't something to model. And it goes back to the kind of saying and coaching that I give a lot of my entrepreneurs, that my dad said to me often, which is, it's lonely at the top. When you have created something or you have envisioned something that is unique, not everyone can see what you see. And so it's going to be different. And that's what makes it something that you have to go after. In this case, though, especially for women, there aren't a lot of us out there before us. I am extremely, extremely fortunate to tell you that both of my grandmothers worked. My mother worked. I had a dad who was very supportive of women in his business and things like that. But there aren't a lot of women before right now. You're starting to see quite a few women step out into the social media space that are modeling what this generation is kind of looking for. But prior to that, there isn't a lot of that. There isn't a lot of rhetoric saying you can do what you want and backing it up with the steps to make it happen, with the message that it's okay, that you can have something that not everybody else has had, and that's okay. And I think that we need to be able to be stretched outside of our comfort zone, because the message that we don't want to convey is it's okay if you have it, if others have had it before you. If we only envision and we only want what we can see, then how do we know what's out there that we haven't yet dreamed of? And I struggle to allow you to only dream as big as you can see. And to kind of mesh it all together, that's almost where the tie game theory came in. We stretch you out and have you dream big, and then we have you set these goals that allow you to get to that dream, but maybe even a little bit more beyond that. If I was taught anything that's almost an unteachable concept, you either absorb it and embrace it or you don't, it was the concept of risk and the concept of stretch. And while those two individual concepts are something that you may say, oh, I know how to do that, or I'm a risky person, or I know how to stretch something out, the two together will model something that you probably will say nobody's ever done before, or will take you someplace that you can't really even envision yet. It kind of goes along with this idea that if you have kids or teenagers are probably the better way to go about it. And you go home at night and you know you've said to your kids the same thing, maybe 10, 15 times. And I'm not exaggerating when I say 10 or 15 times. But they come home and they say to you, Mom, Dad, whoever, you're never going to believe it. So-and-so told me that if if I parallel parked my car with this pattern on the steering wheel, it will work. And I tried it, and guess what? It worked. I parallel parked my car for the first time all by myself. And you're standing there looking at this child that you brought into the planet, and you're thinking to yourself, I showed you that 6 times. I said that. But somebody else said it, and it stuck, and now it's their idea. You're kind of like, oh my gosh, what the heck? We run into it professionally. Take my own business, for example. There's tons of coaching and consulting companies out there, even more successful than my own. However, you can hear something from me and think that I am full of a sack of potatoes, and then hear it from somebody else and think that it's manna from heaven. Or the other way around. You can have been consulted by another company and not like their perspective and come to me and think, oh my gosh, she actually knows what she's talking about. Not bad. I think we should go back. It's how you hear a message and what you're willing to do to to act on it. It's the same thing when we talk about initiating our goals and being the person, being the trailblazer out there, being the person that is going to relay the message. Whether you feel like you've heard that motivational message 50 times. I heard the word imposter syndrome used recently, and I thought, wow, that's crazy. I probably have considered that myself, or I've heard somebody relay a message that I have also recently thought of or said to a coaching client. But it's not so much somebody modeling what I've said or me modeling what someone else has said. It's how you hear the message. It's what you're courageous enough to put out and how you blaze your trail. Because if you allow fear to hold you back and you allow the ability to stay in your nice defined space because that's all that you've seen modeled for you, and you don't accept the stretch, the risk, and you are held back by whether it be the buzzword, the fear, the whatever it is, then I would encourage you to maybe not look forward to what somebody else has done, but what are you willing to do to maybe be the model for someone coming behind you? I think maybe I've mentioned this before, but I used to be mentored by a woman who is a fierce soul. And she used to say, I'll tell you the minimums, but I'm going to coach you to the maximums. And the best thing that I can tell you is grab onto my coattails and I'm taking you with me, sister. And how powerful of a message. She wasn't exactly sure all the places she was going. She's a great visual person and she always had great visuals in front of her. But it was a faith in what she maybe wasn't quite sure of yet. And while she wasn't sure where she was going, she was willing to take you with her. So I challenge you to put on that coat and make sure it's got long coattails and take some people with you. Absorb whatever risk and stretch you think you can have today to take people with you. And if you're unsure where the risk and stretch come together to not only get your goals for today, because that's how we all make our businesses successful, but to get goals for yourself, your team, your family, your business, however that combination comes through, that will take you to places that you aren't sure even exist, then that's what we call the tie game theory. And there is a class that you can take. It's a 6-session class. We can do it through coaching. The best thing for you to do is to jump on, and you can reach out to us via our website, which I said is Oxygen EQ. Give us some feedback, what you think about the website. I'm all about you telling me what works best for you guys, and it's ever evolving, so check back as much as you'd like. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. You can follow our YouTube channel, which has the most amount of training ever. And I hope everybody takes just a little bit of time today to breathe life in. Have a great day, everybody.